Anyone who had expected Carlos Ghosn to be contrite in any way clearly doesn't know the man. He came before the world's media with a robust, full-throated defence of what he'd done by fleeing Japan. He launched into a blistering attack on the Japanese legal system and said the way he'd been treated was against human rights. But he did not give any indication, explanation, or description of how he escaped from Japan. Any question that was asked was retorted with a wry smile and a no comment.
There are many rumors, and they are not all in line with one the other. I'm going to tell you something. For example, at the beginning they said that there is a band which came to my house in Tokyo for Christmas, and this band somehow was a kind of a rehearsal. Then I went into the box, they took me from the house, etc. The whole story is wrong. Why? Because the prosecutor now went to my apartment. There is a monitoring of all the people who are in the house, and they said no.
So I'll clarify. The rumor and suggestion I'm talking about involves a train trip to Osaka, a hotel, a box, and a flight in 2 private jets via Turkey. Is that substantially accurate?
I will make no comment on this. I'm going to tell you why, Richard. Because obviously I was lucky to have people who supported me in this. Because when you are in a situation where you're in trouble with justice, you don't have too much candidate to help you. I was lucky, and I need to, as much as possible, protect them.
Right. Those people, some of them are facing criminal proceedings potentially in Turkey. How do you feel about that?
I feel bad about it.
But there's not much more you can do, really, is there?
Well, we knew from the beginning what are the risks, involved into an operation like this. We all knew that. I knew what were my risks. I knew what are the risks of all the people who supported the operation. So we all knew that, and we obviously know how much we can do to help, but not more.
Okay, what about Mr. Kelly, who remains in jail, he's on bail, I beg your pardon, in Japan? There's a sort of feeling of you got out and he's left behind to carry the can.
Well, first, I was not able, as you know, in Japan to contact Greg. I was forbidden completely. My bail condition and his bail condition forbidding completely any contact between us. So the only contact possible was through our lawyers. So even if I wanted to help Greg, I couldn't because there was no contact.
But is there a feeling, can you understand the feeling that you've left him behind to face the music alone?
I'm not sure about that because I didn't leave Japan to hide somewhere. I left Japan because I'm looking for justice and I want to clear my name, which means I would be looking for a country where I could have this case tried, but with a trial respecting the rights of the defense.
So to clarify this, you are willing to stand trial for these allegations?
Yes, I do.
And have you had discussions with jurisdictions yet as to where that might be?
No, because you can imagine that if I'm in Japan and I start to discuss this kind of topic, this would attract the attention.
But would you accept that any trial would have to be under Japanese law, in the sense of that's the law that you broke? Maybe the system of justice that delivers it would be different. I'm thinking of there's a good precedent you may be familiar with, of course, the Lockerbie bomber, who was tried in The Hague under Scottish law. Is that the sort of thing you're thinking of?
No, I'm thinking about, depending on the country where this will take place, every country would accept a different kind of trial. The only thing I'm looking for is a trial where the rules or the rights of the defense would be respected, which I thought in Japan was not the case.
One thing seems clear is that you are regarded as a fugitive by others in the world. And that's not going to change, is it?
Well, you have to explain. People don't like fugitive when the fugitive is escaping justice. It's a different opinion when a fugitive is escaping injustice. I don't think that people look at people who run from North Korea or from Vietnam or from Russia under the communist regime as people are running from justice. Well, frankly, I can tell you that in the system in which I've been through, I consider that there was practically zero chance I would get a fair trial. With zero chance of getting a fair trial, I don't think this is justice. I was not running from justice. I was looking for justice.
At what point did you decide you'd have to go?
A few weeks ago, and what led me to that first is that everything I was seeing in the pre-trial was leading to the fact that the trial would not be fair. Second, I was hoping that they will fix the date of the trial. It was not fixed. Until now, I don't know. Greg Kelly doesn't know when these trials start. 13 months after we've been arrested. And third, the ban on my wife, which really was something that I could not understand. For 9 months, I can see her, I can talk to her, and they told me that this may continue for another 1 year and a half.
And you then decided that was it?
Too much. It's too much.
Do you accept that you broke the Japanese law in leaving that way?
I accept the fact that I broke the Japanese law by leaving this way, yes.
The Japan has already, you may have already heard, today they've said, the prosecutor said, as a result of your press conference here, that you failed to justify your act, you were deemed a flight risk, which indeed you were because you fled, and his one-sided criticism of the Japanese justice system is totally unacceptable.
It's laughable. It's laughable. I've been under their control for all this time. I had zero right. They put on me bail conditions which are very strict. I didn't have a phone. I could not go on the internet. I couldn't see my wife. I was monitored all the time. I had followers all the time. So in a certain way, when they have a suspicion on somebody, what they would like is to keep him in prison until he is judged.
One ends up with this feeling of you can't pick and choose the laws you like.
No, I'm sure.
You can't pick and choose the jurisdictions you like.
I'm sure. I don't. But and I'm not picking. The only thing is I don't want to be a system where there is no justice.
What was the moment like for you when you realized you had escaped? Different people will pass judgment, moral and legal, upon what you have done. That is something you will have to bear your conscience.
Yes.
Till death. But for you, that moment when I want to go through two sections of it. The moment when you started the execution of the plan, during, and at the end. Tell me.
Yeah. Let me put you, I'm going to tell you exactly what situation I am. I never seen somebody escaping the prison in Vietnam who had any bad feeling about doing that. Why? Because he was a hostage, and he was not fleeing the rule of law in Vietnam. He said, I'm a hostage, I'm here to be punished, I have no fair trial, and I'm escaping. So I'm in the same situation. I'm not feeling bad because somehow I put myself outside the control of people who want me to put me in prison independently of the truth.
But were you nervous?
Oh yes, I was nervous.
Did you fear it was going to go wrong?
I was anxious, but I was not afraid for a very simple reason is, frankly, I had nothing to lose. That means the situation for me in Japan was so bad, and my perspective was so dark, and the fact that I lost any face of having a fair trial, that this encouraged me to decide to leave Japan.
And the moment, I mean, humor me,
yeah.
The moment the plane is in international space and you pretty much know it's going to land in Lebanon, what was that moment like?
Well, as you know, it was not going to land in Lebanon, it was going to land somewhere else. But I felt,
but then after that?
I felt relieved. Yes, I felt relieved. And you know, the first thought I had is, finally, I'm going to be able to see my wife. That's my first thought.
I'm just going to go for this and hope that you'll give me an answer. What was it like in the packing case?
No comment. Look, freedom, no matter the way it happens, is always sweet.
Carlos Ghosn is in a very difficult position here in Lebanon. Although the country won't extradite him to Japan, They have called him before the state prosecutors tomorrow to explain his actions, because they have to justify why they're going to ignore an Interpol red notice. Carlos Ghosn may have won his day before the media, but his legal problems are far from over. Richard Quest, CNN, Beirut.